Okay, so before I founded Make Believe, I was the kind of founding campaigns director at GetUp. Raise your hand if you've never heard of GetUp.
Oh, okay,
A few people? Okay, so basically it's an online kind of political movement that's got about 388,000 members now, and they work on issues rather than being aligned to political parties. So they raise hundreds of thousands of dollars a single email. It's a very, very cool thing. It's where I got my big break, and it's where I learned a lot of what I now help other companies do, which is basically build movements and bring people in. So what have I learned about power in the hairy world of politics and now in business? I came from the States when I was 17, did a political science degree out here, then went on and did journalism, so I do apologize for the accent, but I've lived here for a while. I think we've got a lot of old models of power that are being outgrown. I think that we often actually confuse power with force, being able to make somebody do something because I have something that you want, or I have more money, or I have more position or contacts, or a bigger army. We're certainly seeing the States and what they're going through. Basically, to me, force has blowback. And for every action, there is a reaction. And therefore, it can't really be sustained. Think British Empire, Mahatma Gandhi. One had power, one had force. Power draws its strength from moral authority. It's only getting stronger when it's speaking from a moral frame that so therefore, it only gets stronger until the moral frame that it's speaking from is either supplanted with something else or it loses touch with that moral frame. And I think that's what we saw at the last election. We saw a Labour Party that lost touch with the power of its moral authority and a Liberal Party that only knew what it was against, not what it was actually for. As Make Believe, we ran the Greens campaign, and we were really proud to help them tell a different story, and that was one that was about the power of people, not politicians, and it was the power of their values, not their fears. So to wrap this idea off, British Empire force, Mahatma Gandhi power, I think you all get that. We all love the idea that we can be somewhere in a room like here where we're surrounded by interesting and influential, charismatic people and meet somebody with the power to change our life. That's a really seductive, exciting idea. I have friends who are actors and they live for that every day. But the challenge with that is that we then put our power outside ourselves. And so we sit around waiting for someone to spot our potential and do something for us before we eventually take our power back. And then we usually draw those people to us anyway. And here's some other misconceptions and myths that I basically had my own personal short list of, I think, misconceptions that I've had about power over the years. Number one, power is external. To have it, you have to go out and get it, which then raises a whole bunch of questions about who you have to be and what you have to do to get it. Myth number two, power is a zero-sum game. There's a fixed amount of power in the world. If I have more, you have less. GetUp taught me that the more power we all have, the more power we all have. The internet is a great force for the democratization of power. You'll email your senator and say, I totally disagree with you on this policy, when you would never call them up or go into their office and have that same conversation. Small groups can now mobilize millions of people at the touch of a button, and there are lots of great groups doing that sort of work. True power multiplies. It spawns new ideas and creativity, stories, wealth, opportunity, which brings me to myth number three, which is that power is solitary. We have this idea of like the lone and lonely leader up at the top and everybody else somehow far removed from them. And I think that's something that keeps a lot of women from kind of seeking power as they understand or define it. Because who wants to be that? I'm the director of a company today, a job that I have no qualification or preparation for whatsoever, and I'm so not interested in wearing that mask of the powerful leader and keeping my staff at a distance. Myth number four, power requires money. I think we just all hear again and again and again, money is power, so we believe that the reverse must be true, power must be money. And certainly it makes it easier to live in the world when we are materially supported, but the thing that's hard about that is that we often give away our power in the pursuit of money. So, and even if you've never been particularly motivated by power, you can give your power away in the pursuit of things that money represents, like security, so acceptance, approval, and belonging. Which is why getting in touch with your authentic self is actually the most powerful thing that you can do. And that sounds like kind of a corny new age thing, but I think it's layer upon layer of learning who am I today and what do I want today, because then you're not outsourcing your need for approval. No one has anything to hold over you. I've said no to offers that I once would have felt truly powerless to refuse, and it's really because I've gotten to know myself better than I used to, and I think it's the best thing about getting older that I can imagine. Quickly wrapping up, power requires conformity. I'm starting to really believe that actually I don't need anyone else's permission to be myself in the world, and that I'm at my most powerful, and so are my clients, and so are the causes and the people that I believe in when they're actually standing in their own power, being their most authentic and sharing that story. So you only have to do what everybody else does to the degree that you want what everybody else has. If you want to get fit, do what an athlete does. That's great. But if you want a more extraordinary life and you're playing small to fit in, you're not actually going to get where you want to be. So ask yourself, do you want a piece of the pie or do you want a completely different pie? And sometimes the answer is a bit of both. Myth number 6, power is a one-way street. Look at the election and Kevin Rudd. We've all observed that politicians and celebrities and business people, the people that seem to wield the most power, are often at the most effective at it. And myth number 7, that power is scary. It goes back to the confusion between power and force. And I think it's another reason why a lot of us are actually afraid to step into positions of power or see ourselves as powerful. What about the power to inspire, or the power to heal, the power to comfort, the power to serve, the power to protect? And I'll end on a bit of a hippie note. What if real power, the kind of power that compels great acts of courage, sacrifice, and devotion, is really just another word for love? Thanks very much.